Good morning, students, and welcome back to your English class. Today, we are going to study the poem of the first chapter, that is, The Squirrel. The name of the poem is The Squirrel. So, this poem is all about a squirrel. So, I'm sure students, each of you must have seen a squirrel sitting on the ground and eating nuts or some other edibles, isn't it? So, what does it look like for you? I know every one of you will give different views. So, let us see in this poem what's the view of the poet. Okay. So, the point of the poem is your Mildred Bowers Armstrong. Mildred Bowers Armstrong is the poet of this poem, The Squirrel. You have to remember the name of the poet, alright? As well as you have to memorize the poem. So let me read and explain to you. He wore a question mark for tail, an overcoat of grey. He sat up straight to eat a nut. He liked to tease and play, and if we ran around his tree, he went the other way. So, this is the experience being shared by the poet Mildred Bowers Armstrong. So, once he happened to see a squirrel eating what? Nut. Sitting straight and eating nut. So, how he noticed the squirrel? When he saw the squirrel, how he felt? How it looked for him? It looked like wearing a question mark. You can notice here how its tail is looking. It's looking like question mark, isn't it? Yeah. And it is such a small creature, but it looks like wearing an coat. Okay, wearing an overcoat of gray color, right? And now he's sitting straight on the tree, as you see here. You can see here, right? And eating the nut. And you must have some experience, isn't it? When you're sitting somewhere quietly, sometimes you must have seen squirrel moving around you. But once you stand up, what happens? Within a fraction of second, it disappears from that place, isn't it? That is what the poet is telling here. It likes to tease and play, but once you try to touch it, it won't be there. It will disappear immediately, isn't it? Yeah. And when you move around its tree, does it sit there quietly till you come and touch it? No, it never allows you to touch. Immediately it moves or disappears from the place where you saw it. Okay, and once you go when you go the one way, it moves the other way. That means it is like playing, isn't it, or teasing you. And once you try to reach it, it just moves away from you. So this is the explanation of the poem, The Squirrel. I hope you understood the poem. Now let us move on to the working with the poem. So here are some questions given for you to write the answers. So in first question you are asked, why does the poet say the squirrel wore a question mark for tail? Draw a squirrel or find a picture of a squirrel sitting on the ground. How would you describe its tail? So now you have to draw a picture of a squirrel, okay, or you can find a picture of a squirrel sitting on the ground and you have to describe in your words. Here it is the view of the poem, what we saw in the poem, but according to your view, what do you think, what do you feel when you see the squirrel sitting on the ground and eating? How does it look for you? That you have to write. So here is the answer for your first question. If you can write the answers in your words, but I have given the answers for those who find it difficult to write the answers. Okay, so let me read it to you. The first answer. The poet says the squirrel wore a question mark for tail because sometimes its tail appears to be a question mark, but I would describe its tail differently. Its tail is bushy and smooth and very pleasant to touch it. Second answer is no, we don't usually say so. Sometimes the animal turns its tail in different shapes. Students, I haven't written the question here, but while writing down the answers in your notebook, you please note down the questions as well. Okay? Now the third answer is the squirrel is teasing us. If we run around him, he will go the other way. Okay, so these are the answers. Please write them down in your notes. Or if you can write them in your own words. And you also have to memorize, learn the poem and the name of the poet of the poem. Okay? Thank you and have a nice day.